The film begins with Lauren, a young girl who is an actress. She entered Hollywood at a young age and was part of a family show called Maid the Johnsons. Her life was quite different from that of children her age. She lived a luxurious life and was happy. Through all, she even grew up while working on this show. Press gathered outside her house today because a hacker had accessed her phone and leaked a private photo of hers, which was a picture of her pregnancy test. Lauren becomes deeply distressed by all these scandals and contemplates running away. So, one of her secretaries finds a house in the peaceful surroundings of the woods for her to stay for a few days. Then, her secretary gets into a car and leaves through the main gate, making the media think that Lauren has left the house. Thus, she deceives the media and leaves for her vacation through the back door. On the way, Lauren receives a call from her agent, reassuring her that everything will be fine and that she promises to find the hacker soon. Meanwhile, she finally arrives at the house where she was supposed to stay. The place was very cozy, spacious, and well lit. But she didn't know that this peaceful home was cluttered with cameras. Through these cameras, a man was keeping an eye on her. Upon seeing Lauren, he recognizes her as a big-name actress. We see Lauren comfortably settle down on the couch and connect to the local Wi-Fi, even though her assistant had warned her against connecting to outside Wi-Fi. Connecting to Wi-Fi in such places makes hacking even easier. But Lauren hadn't considered any of this. She turns on the news. She reads news about herself and also sees the ratings of her show, which have started to decline. The man who played her father on the family show she grew up on was actually the father of Lauren's child. Now, the same man calls Lauren and asks her where she is right now. But Lauren doesn't tell him her location. Peter, in his sweet voice, says, "Look, Lauren, try to understand. We have to handle things carefully so that our lives, our image, our relationship, and especially our show don't get ruined. Look, if the pregnancy story gets out, everything will be ruined." Peter tells her, "If it's too late to take the pill, I'll bring a doctor home. You'll be free of all this and I'll pay for it all. Just tell me your location." Hearing the man's words, Lauren becomes even angrier and hangs up. We are told about Peter, who is not only married but also has children. He knew that the news of Lauren's pregnancy would ruin not only his professional life but also his personal life. That's why he was so upset. Sitting in front of him was his assistant, Croft, who told him, "If you want, this whole matter can be resolved. Just give me the money and watch the show. Look, everyone knows that Lauren is already upset. I'll go and kill Lauren and make it look like she overdosed on drugs out of frustration, and that way you'll be free from this problem." Elsewhere, we see Lauren, who is overwhelmed by all the calls, switches off her phone. The man who was keeping an eye on Lauren also falls asleep while watching the CCTV footage. Just then, her uncle arrives, having seen the CCTV footage on his mobile phone and realizing that a very wealthy person had moved into their property. A plot immediately springs to mind, and they plan to go to the property and steal it. The mastermind behind the theft is Darren. He brings his roommate, Marge, along with him. Their simple plan was to steal something and run away. But Lauren's dog smelled them and started barking loudly. Lauren got scared and woke up. She too sensed someone was in the house. So she went and hid inside a small cabin in one of the rooms. Inside the cabin, she heard things moving around. Lauren shouted, "What do you want?" Marge became a little alarmed by her voice. But Darren told her, "We have nothing to do with it. Just pack up and get out of here quickly." Marge disobeyed Darren and said, "This girl is definitely ours. She'll get us into trouble. We should stay here and threaten and intimidate her." While they were discussing this, the property owner arrived. He had been tracking Lauren through his phone, and it was through his phone that Darren and Marge came here to steal. He tells them, "Don't do what you've come for. This girl is very famous." We hear Lauren's frightened voice again from inside saying, "Take whatever you want. I won't tell anyone. Just leave me." Marge opens the door again and tries to threaten her, but Darren and the other boy try to stop him. In the process, Marge's gun goes off, hitting the boy. Seeing the phone had taken their minds off it. Now they understand. They'll have to go to jail. Darren starts crying in fear and sees that Marge still hasn't stopped. He tries to kill the injured boy. so Darren begs him to stop. But Marge refuses and shoots him in the head, killing him. Darren, so panicked by this, vents his anger on Lauren. He yells at her, "This is all your fault. We should have killed you first. At least my nephew wouldn't have died." In his anger, Darren breaks the doorknob of the cabin. Darren is unconscious, but Marge is fully conscious. He tells Darren, "Stay here. Don't let anyone in. I'll get the equipment to dispose of the body." Darren leaves as soon as he leaves, and poor Lauren, whose doorknob was also broken, is trapped inside. Lauren tries desperately to open the door, even pushing it, but it won't budge. Her efforts only injure her. Now she's so fed up she starts screaming for help. But there was no one around. She called out to her dog, but even her dog had run away in fear. Exhausted by crying, Lauren fell asleep. The next morning when she woke up, she saw that the cabin only had a water heater and a single bulb, the wiring of which was faulty. She somehow managed to fix the wiring and turn on the bulb. She was terribly hungry, and strange feelings arose within her. She sat down, clutching her stomach. She was also thirsty. She started crying. Suddenly, she heard the sound of running water. She looked up to see that there were water pipes. She examined the walls of the cabin and knocked, discovering that it was hollow inside. So she first found the hollowest place and tried to break it. In the midst of all this effort, the bulb that the poor woman had so painstakingly lit went out again. When she tried to fix it again, she received a severe electric shock. The electric shock only intensifies her thirst. But there's nothing she can do. She takes deep breaths to calm herself down. She hears something moving behind the wall. She knows it's a rat. By this time, Madame and Darren have also returned home. Sensing their presence, Lauren begins screaming, "Please help me. Take whatever you want from me. I have plenty of money. Look, if you want to avoid the police, I can do that. I can even hide this murder you committed. Look, I'll tell the police a story. I was trapped here myself and didn't see what happened. Darren, listen to me. I'll say your nephew was stalking me. He tried to force himself on me, and in the process, his gun went off, killing him with his own gun." Her words began to drive Darren crazy. Unable to control his emotions, he puts the gun to his mouth. Finally, unable to kill himself, he simply says, "I'm sorry." Lorraine tells him once more, "Look, I'm a very famous actress. Everyone will believe me." Darren wants to believe Lorraine, but Marge refuses. Driven mad, Doreen begins banging her head and hands against the wall. Enraged, Marge fires bullets at the wall to stop her. But the bullets ricochet off the wall and hit Marge's own head and Duran's shoulder. Marge dies, leaving Duran badly injured. Duran tries to escape while Lorraine cries out, "I'm pregnant! Please don't leave me like this. You can't do this to me." But the wounded Duran listens, staggering to her feet. He leaves. He barely made it to the hospital and immediately collapsed. Inside the cabin, Lorraine was lying completely weak. Suddenly, a rat passed over her and she was electrocuted. She stood up again. She couldn't live without light. So she tampered with the wiring again and tried to relight the bulb. The bulb burned out. She then found a nearby iron pipe, which she picked up and managed to kill the rat. But all the work she had done while hungry and thirsty weakened her further, and she fell down. Now she began having hallucinations. The scene cuts to the police talking to Duran in the hospital. The doctors had also told the police that Duran was unconsciously talking about a woman who was pregnant. But because he was in a state of intoxication, his words couldn't be trusted. Inside the cabin, Lorraine was dying. Her thirst grows so intense that she begins licking the drops of water coming from the overhead water pipe. Her thirst remains unquenched, and she begins licking the ground where the water is falling. A few drops of water give her renewed strength. She picks up the same metal pipe she used to kill the rat and begins to break down the wall. As she breaks through, she becomes even more disappointed because there's a brick wall on the other side. She can't escape through this path, but she finds a rat's nest inside the wall, and luckily there's a hammer inside. She's delighted to find it, and with it she can open the door. Just as she's thinking about this, another tragedy strikes her. The water pipe that was gushing from above breaks, filling the small cabin with water. On the other side, we see Lauren's dog, rescued by a girl from the street. She takes a picture of this cute dog and posts it online. Soon, when she sees that her post has received thousands of likes, she learns from the comments that the dog was actually Lauren's dog. The police go to Darren's house to investigate how he was shot, and they find a blood-soaked shirt at Darren's house. Meanwhile, Craftiney, the man who was ready to kill Lauren for her friend, sees the woman's post and contacts her, trying to find out where she found the dog. He's willing to pay her a large sum of money in exchange for the dog's location. Hearing this, the girl realizes that the matter here is more than just a dog. The scene cuts to show that Darren has now regained consciousness in the hospital. The police investigate and ask him about his nephew and his friend Marge, and Darren flatly refuses to reveal any details, saying, "I don't know anything about them." When the police ask him, "Who attacked you?" he replies, "I was shot by mistake. I was firing at him to break a lock, and the bullet came back and hit my shoulder." The police then inform him that they had searched his house and found a blood-soaked shirt, which has now been sent for forensic analysis, and they say they will soon find out whose blood is on it. The scene cuts back to Loren, who has begun using the hammer to break the door hinges. At the same time, we see Croft, who has arrived at the vet where the girl took Lauren's dog. He gives the doctor money and tells him to call the girl to his clinic. The doctor realizes Kraft is up to something. He calls the girl and warns her to disappear with the dog wherever she is or her life could be in danger. Meanwhile, we see Darren asking the doctor and police for permission to use the bathroom and then eluding them, escaping the hospital. Outside, a car is driving toward the same house. Meanwhile, Lauren's cabin is rapidly filling with water. If Lauren hadn't opened the door quickly enough, she would have drowned. Furthermore, the faulty wiring could have caused her to be electrocuted and die. It's also shown that the girl who tried to escape with Lauren's dog was now after Lauren's dog, jumping from the moving car and running towards the house where Lauren was. The dog went inside, searching for Lauren. Lauren struggled to open the door, her head submerged. Darren finally reached the room and immediately picked up Lauren's dog. Before he could open the front door, a Croft who had followed the dog entered the room. Upon arriving, he saw two bodies already lying there, and Darren was also there. He shot Darren in the head with his gun, killing him. He immediately called his boss, saying, "Now I'm going to charge you double for the job because it's so bad. Instead of just one murder, there are 4 murders involved." Croft then began searching for Lauren, and then he saw water coming out of the cabin. He cautiously approaches the cabin to check what's inside. Just then, Lauren, working from inside, manages to break the door, and the door suddenly collapses on Kraft with the pressure of the water. The door was above Kraft and Lauren was above the door. Just then, the girl who found Lauren's dog arrives. She had arrived while chasing Lauren's dog and was shocked by the scene. She pulls Lauren by the arm and jokingly tells her, "Maybe someone killed your bodyguards." Kraft gets up and points his gun at Lauren. The other girl tries to stop Kraft, but Lauren takes the opportunity and runs away. But the girl isn't strong enough to hold Kraft for long. Kraft punches her hard, knocking her unconscious. We see that Lauren had also hidden, waiting for a special moment. As soon as Lauren appeared, he seized the opportunity and struck her hard on the head with a metal pipe from behind, causing Kraft to fall unconscious. Kraft's phone rang. Loren realized it was a call from her friend. She answered the call but didn't say anything. Listening to Peter's words, she realized Peter was the one who wanted her dead. Meanwhile, Kraft got up again, and as he tried to grab her by the throat, Loren smashed the pipe on his head again, ripping it open. Blood spurted from his head, covering Lauren's entire face. But she survived. Soon the police arrived and they recognized Loren immediately. The media had also arrived outside. Loren then asked for her phone and then posted the picture that had previously caused her scandal on her social media handles. She no longer wanted to protect the man who had tried to kill her. The scene cuts to Lauren's friend, who is being interviewed by the media, who has begun to create a scandal about him. He claims Lauren's entire story is a lie. But no one believes him, and the police arrive and arrest him for allegedly plotting to have Lauren killed. culprit finally meets his end and the movie ends here. Subscribe to Movo Reels, where every movie tells its story again.